everyone. I'm Camille Nash, and welcome to the Bullpen. Listen, we are really excited about what's going on here in the Bullpen. As you all know, if you have been following me for any length of time, then you know that the Bullpen is a spinoff of my other show, Will of Woman. Well, why is it called the Bullpen, Camille? People are asking. What a great question. I'm so glad you asked. Well, because I have been in multiple spaces, whether it be in business, in boardrooms, conference rooms, social media, and I hear and have heard so much conversation around men trying to tell women how they should conduct themselves, and vice versa. Y'all know women trying to tell men how they should conduct themselves. So I thought, why not take a moment and bring men into the bullpen? The bullpen is called Bull because the name of a whale, male, is bull. Y'all get it? Bullpen. So we're coming in to have a real conversation. And because my thought is antithetical on us women trying to tell men how to conduct themselves, of course, when we're in a relationship, we're going to be clear with them on what we want, what we desire, because we all need and desire and want something different, right? But what better way for you to be able to hear it from men that are operating in they're major players in big spaces, in their communities, in their families, in their ministries, and in business. They are turning up the volume. So tonight, we're going to talk about, if you've seen the topic, we're talking about financial abuse in marriage. You heard me, and I'm going to be doing a series on it for the rest of the year. And what better person, no other better person could I think of than to bring my friend who you're going to meet tonight. And he is a powerhouse, making waves all over this country, the world abroad. And so tonight I want to talk about financial abuse in marriage. And y'all listen, you heard it, read the title right. Prince Charming is not coming. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't be looking for him to come anyway. You should have some strategies in place on what you are going to do as a woman, if you're a woman listening, to grow your money, to make money, grow your money. And what you do with your dumb money. We're going to get into all of that. But without further ado, I want to take a moment and go ahead and bring to the platform my friend, leader and financial expert, LaRese Purnell, MBA out of Cleveland, Ohio.
What's going on, Camille? It's so good to see you.
There he is. There he is. I know. Look, yeah, we had to take a minute to make sure we didn't see each other so you all could get a real reaction. No, you had to get a real reaction with us being able to interface. It is good to see you, my brother. My brother, and I don't just say that lightly. I mean it. I mean it from the top of my head to the soles of my feet. I mean it.
Yeah, I already know it. I already know it, man. It's so good to see you. You look
Yes.
amazing, man. I'm
Right.
always one of your biggest fans, and you do the same to me, man. So it's good to be here tonight.
Yes, it so is. And listen, I have been on tiptoe anticipation about this one because I know you give it straight. We're from Cleveland. If those of you don't know, so y'all know the jokes that they make about the lake, but you all also know all of the amazing things that people from that same place make. So tonight, I want to, if you wouldn't mind, I know you. I know I could go on and on about you, but I
Appreciate
wanted to make this more of a pragmatic conversation, but also a very real one. And I know you're going to speak to the hearts of our people. But first, for a quick moment, tell our audience a little bit about LaRese and what they should look for in this conversation tonight.
Yeah. So what you're going to get in this conversation, one, again, I'm so honored to be here tonight. I can't wait to jump in this conversation because I know you're going to ask me some real questions. So, hey, just stay
You
tuned. Hold on
already
to your seats because I'm ready to bring some real answers too. But again, LaRese Purnell, proud native of the city of Cleveland. And I have to give this context because some people say, well, we don't want to hear about your childhood, but it's relative to where I'm at today and why I do the work
Yeah.
I do. Growing up in a single household with a mother that dealt with poverty, addiction. We stayed in homeless shelters. It was entrepreneurs that were angels in my life that saved my life, great organizations that really fed into me to make me who I was today. So again, today now, though, I am the co-owner of CLE Consulting Firm. We're an accounting, tax, and payroll services firm located right here in downtown Cleveland. Serial entrepreneur. I own a restaurant, some other businesses
Come
in
on.
town. I am a man of God. I should have said that
Yes.
first. I am a proud Christian man of God, husband and father, and just a servant to our people and to our community, not just in Cleveland, but in all communities that are in need to change and create legacies in our communities.
Yes, and what a great introduction. Those of you that are listening, LaRese and I have been trying to do this for quite some time. We won't even tell y'all how long, but he is my friend. But y'all know how it is sometimes connecting with your friends, and I'm honored to be able to call him a friend. But he's also very much a businessman. Let me tell you all a quick story. I met LaRese many years ago. Now, let me see. Trey is, can you believe it? He's 20.
Yes.
Now y'all do the math. There was only 3 when I met him. Yeah. So that tells you, I can't believe it's been that long, 17 years that we've known each other. And we met in the financial world.
That's right.
We met working and serving in the community as leaders in the community for local banks. And unbeknownst to both of us, we soon found ourselves serving in the same ministry, and only God could have done that. Talk about a holy hookup and connection. You were definitely a brother for me. I look at your son, I say, man, I remember when he was like
little guy.
And now he's doing phenomenal things, and just really having that heart of serving. So I want to dig into a little bit. A lot of times people will look at, wherever you came from, your childhood, and, that's just such a bad thing. I think it's important. Let me tell you why, because I recently learned, you might be smarter than me in this area. You might know. I recently learned that when we are children, when we experience trauma as children, it changes the shape of our brain. Now, y'all heard the stories about what it changes, how you look at things, but it changes the shape of the brain. So it changes how you show up. And you have been, talk about trials to triumphant. You have definitely done that in more ways than one. But I want you to just share with the audience a little bit. For those that may looking at you on a regular basis, they say, oh, that LaRese, my goodness. We're going to talk about what you do with Black Friday and all of the lives that you've changed. They say, oh, he's got to be a miracle. I could never do that. So I want you to talk about what it was like for you growing up, whatever it is that you want to share, to what degree you want to share it, and what you did. Even if you want to give a couple bullets on what you did to look at things differently and turn your life around.
Man, with my sister, we're gonna be all the way real. You can ask me anything you want to ask me, because one thing is, they see your glory and they don't know your story. And a lot of times people, I have people now say, oh, I thought you came from a family with a silver spoon in your mouth. And I said, oh, just the least. We didn't have no spoons in my house. No. But no, the joke I say now, and I'm blessed that I can say that at this point in my life. But, I will always say, a lot of times I thought I had multiple birthdays. I just didn't realize we didn't have no lights in the house, and we always had so many candles. And, growing up, it was a struggle, watching my mother just struggle through trying to pay the bills, trying to work third shift jobs, trying to figure out what to do with us, going from place to place. And the saddest thing is when I look back at, and I thank God I changed that trajectory with my kids. I don't have friends from third grade. I don't have friends from, kindergarten. I don't have friends from fifth grade, because we bounced around so much, not just in our city, but around this world. We lived in the St. Croix Virgin Islands. We would go back and forth, from Cleveland to St. Croix to different places around the country. A lot of people don't know that story. So for me, I didn't know where I was going to end up the next school year. And, with my kids, people didn't understand why I said I'm going to fight with everything I have to allow my kids to start, in one school and graduate from the same school. So having both of them being able to do that, to some, you might think, well, that's simple. Like that's just what everybody should do. But it did not exist in my life. And now to see my kids still hang out with kids from kindergarten, really, they don't understand the joy and the thankfulness I have for that. But it goes back to my introduction to Camille, to give you a couple bullet points. A lot of the work I do right now is around entrepreneurship. A lot of things I do is to teach financial literacy, because it was the Black people in our community, the entrepreneurs, the gas station owners, the grocery store owners, the corner store owners, the barber shops, that those are the people that when they saw, they would say, speak over my life, and I didn't even realize. They would say, hey, LaRese, there's something different about you. Come in and sweep my floors. I want to keep you off the streets. Come in and pump gas when they didn't let no other kid in the neighborhood do it to keep me off the streets. It was even the dudes in the neighborhood that was into some things that, they shouldn't have been into, but they all would always look out for me and say, you different, man. We're going to make sure that you're good. So it's by God's grace. And I call those people angels, that they really looked out for me and made sure that I stayed on the straight and narrow. And I'm so thankful for that. But it was hard work, y'all. It's not easy. Even to this day, being an entrepreneur, it's not for everybody. It's hard work. It's going to be failures. It's going to be wins. It's going to be losses. But all you have to do is only failure when you stay down. See, I get back up.
Say that part again.
It's only failure when you stay down, y'all.
Right.
And the one last thing I want to make sure I say, because somebody said that this weekend in a speech, and it really, I'm transformed the way I think about some things. And I want to say that to all you listening. Our kids can't become what they don't see.
Say that. Tell them again.
Our kids cannot become what they don't see. And for me, that's what changed. You asked me what changed my life is because, again, I saw Black doctors. I saw Black engineers. I saw Black entrepreneurs. So if you are in position, you got to make sure kids in our communities that you don't forget the community that raised you and helped you to create that wealth. So make sure, everybody, that you go back and you give back, because you may be the person that changed some kid's trajectory.
That's fantastic. So listen, when you talk about they need to see an example. My goodness, outside of God's favor, I'm going to call it what it is. We're in the bullpen, but anything I do is underpinned by God. Now, I may not always quote the scripture, but I'm going to bring him in, just like you are. We're going to bring him in. Outside of God's favor, what do you believe it was? Maybe some kids listening, or some parents that will listen and allow their children to go back on the replay and listen. What do you think it was about you, or that you did, maybe even how you showed up, that gave the inclination with these business owners to say, hey, we want to protect him? There's something unique about him.
It was work ethic. Is I watched my mother, when we had nothing, still catch the bus, to go to a third shift job and then get off, come feed us, make sure we got off to school, and then went to school herself. And then I watched her do that. And I said, man, does she ever stop? So she always put this work ethic in us to say that if you want something, you got to be willing to give something. And for that, it's our time. And most people, you want to operate in average and think you're going to end up with above average results. That's impossible. It doesn't even align. So for me, what made me different is when the store owner would open on a Saturday at Snack Shack on 143rd and Kinsman at 7 a.m., guess who was standing by the door waiting for him to open? I would. Sometime it would be dark. At McDonald's, when they would let me sweep the floors, guess what? When they open for breakfast, and we know what time they open for breakfast, I was standing outside making sure that I was ready before the kids even got out the bed while they were playing video games. I was sweeping floors. So it was something that God, even to this day, Camille, I don't know what that extra and all I can just say is I'm thankful for it. Because I don't know what it was, but it was an extra something he gave me that made sure that I always understood that it was God's grace, it was his ability, his blessing, his hand. So my biggest prayer to this day is not that I'm afraid to lose my wife. I love her to death. It's not that I'm afraid to lose my business, the car I drive, the house I live in. I'm afraid for him to take his hand off of me out of anything that I possess in life, because he's been doing that my entire life. So that's it.
Yes. And my goodness, you talk about when you talk about the mere fact that God's hand is on you. So I want to dig into confidence for just a few minutes, and we're going to get to your wife too. I want to definitely talk for a few minutes about her. But I want to ask, when we think about when I came up with this whole concept of Prince Charming isn't coming, I didn't come up with it by myself, y'all. There's a book called Prince Charming Is Not Coming, and it's written by a woman who is a daughter of one of the founders of H&R Block, if you all didn't know that. And in the book, her name is Barbara Staney. And so in the book, she talks about the pragmatic ways that you can pull yourself out, and you shouldn't be looking for a man to rescue you. Now, a lot of us, we're, not that far apart, about maybe 10 years or so, somewhere in there, 8 years, 10 years. But we're still the same generation. Many of us were taught that we're supposed to just go to school or not get a man, make sure that the husband is stable, and let him take care of us. Well, I came to I came to challenge that tonight, because one of the reasons I went into finance, I know I shared this with you many years ago, was because my grandfather was so chauvinistic about the money, and so protective about the money, and he'd only share the secrets with the guys or the men in the family. And so I thought, well, I need to learn, I need to figure that thing out so that I am not dependent upon a man, husband, father, grandfather, whomever, to take care of me. I want to know for myself. And I just thank God for that veracity and tenacity, or desire to want to know. So I want to ask you tonight, how would you say a person begins to build confidence, number one? And number two, how do we debunk this whole looking for Prince Charming to come be a rescue?
Whew. I want to start with that, because look, you got me. I'm about to get off my seat now. Look,
Here we go.
I don't want no issues at home now. Don't be causing no mess, Camille. Like, don't be.
Wait a minute. I know you all work together though. So.
That's right. But no, that is so good. What you?
In advance. Let me ask
yeah.
you. Already in advance. Already in advance. Okay.
Yeah. Shame on you, women. Shame on you. You work your whole career to build wealth, and with a partner, and then they die. You don't know, and you lose the wealth overnight. Shame on you.
Run that back, everybody.
Yeah. You work your whole career to build wealth with a partner, and they pass away, and you don't know what to do with the wealth. Shame on you. So you worked your whole career to build something that you can't even enjoy because of lack of education, the lack of accountability, the lack of asking questions. You were so worried about the bag. And I'm not talking about the bag of wealth, the bag, the Gucci, the Louis Vuitton, the Dior, all that stuff. But you weren't worried about your own last name and making sure that you kept that legacy for you and your children. So again, it has, I'm not saying don't build trust. I didn't say that. In a relationship, there should be trust. But part of the trust is knowing that you can trust each other to understand what needs to be understood. So for me, what I challenge, because I see this on so many occasions, that women, they put a lot of trust in their spouse because that's the person who handles the money. They're good at making the money. They're good at, making sure we budget the money. But again, something happens, and then they're scrambling. I'm dealing with a client now. She's scrambling. 30 years in this marriage, he passed away unexpectedly. He was diagnosed with a disease and died in 2 months. 2 months. Now, again, right now, what she's now then scrambling to do is find somebody to help her manage the wealth she built and don't understand. So again, I just challenge all of you, is if you're going to be in a relationship, you got to make sure that you understand your wealth. And I tell the fellows all the time too, it's always said, the women want to know, the saying is, is a guy doing well, checking his credit, making sure he has some wealth. But I turn that back around on the fellas and say, ask her, while she asking for your credit score, ask for her bank statement to make sure, one, that she actually is budgeting properly. She understands how to manage wealth. So again, this is all stuff that I watch families, Camille, lose it all because now the woman is entrusting somebody that's a stranger when she has somebody sitting right next to her whole life that could help educate her.
My goodness. I mean, that part right there about the 30-year marriage, that's really also what really prompted me with this conversation. I said, I got to dig into this, like it or not, because that's the same thing that happened to Miss Barbara, the author of the book. Yeah. Her husband, who was an attorney, he I don't want to say wiped her out, but he took everything. And the parents were just disgusted because of all of the effort, all the work that it took for them to build their brand, their business, H&R Block, with their bare hands.
Yes.
And here he took their wealth. And so what I want to talk about as we look at with that woman with that same scenario, one of the things that I'm not married anymore, but one of the things that I found very helpful, or that I attempted to parlay in my marriage, and I'm grateful. You know, I learned a lot, learned a lot, learned a lot, learned a lot. I just believe whoever he is next, ooh, he gonna be in for a blessing, mighty blessing, because I believe that women, as women, even if your husband is the financial manager of the family, which I don't believe all men should be, and you're going to talk about that and explain if that is the case, if it should be, and or if not. I think that we need to do a 6-month check-in. Do a 6-month check-in or annual check-in, or you tell us what your thoughts are, so that if at any point either spouse does pass away, the other person can jump right in, and they know what they're jumping into and where to go to get the information, and or what to do when it comes to execution.
Yeah. So I call it, I gotta say that I teach this. If you're out there, if you don't take nothing from tonight, I want you to take this note. Love letter. And you've heard me teach about this before. You create your love letter. And
tell them about the love letter. It's not a love letter with all the bills.
No. You knew he loved you. No, it's a love letter possesses every important document that you own. It is your will. It is your trust. It is your power of attorneys. It is all your mortgages. It is all your bank statements. It's all your insurances. It's all your investments. Everything that is a part of your wealth strategy is within this love letter. And I tell people, you either get a fireproof safe and you put all these documents in one place, or if you're electronic and you want to put it on the shared drive and you give access to your families, there's apps out there that you can store this stuff. But I always tell people, put it in a place that is also tangible. But the worst thing in the world to do is somebody passes away, and then now you're trying to figure out what's what. You don't even know that you're in debt. They're coming to take the car because you're 3 months behind. That you're getting ready to go in foreclosure because your husband that you trusted with everything didn't pay the bills because he was living 2 lifestyles and he had 2 families. We're gonna talk real tonight. We're gonna talk real tonight. So
let's again, talk real. That happens.
Yeah, and it happens all the time. And you're like, what just happened? Like, why? I thought he's been paying the mortgage. I thought he's been paying the bills. I didn't know we had all this credit card debt. So again, I tell people on a monthly basis, because we all got time to go to the movies. We have time to go on date nights. We have time to go to church. We have time to go to work, but we don't take time to have that table talk, talk with your family to make sure they understand. The worst thing to do, again, is to spend your whole career building wealth, and then your family loses it in months because they don't know how to manage the wealth you worked hard to build. So again, education is key. And now to your point, should the woman or the man manage the finances?
Come on, let's talk about the financial manager of the family.
Who is the best person who has the ability to do it. So it's not about it being the man or the woman. If the woman is the best person and she's responsible and she's going to get the family to their goal and she's going to help create that legacy, that man got to drop that ego. Because you're the man, you want to put your family in debt. Because you're the man, you're going to make your family pay more interest rates because you don't understand it. So it's not about ego. It's about doing what's right for your family. But whoever's in control, who's ever in control, got to make sure it is their responsibility to educate the other person. So again, because I'll tell you, this is beyond just the husband and wife, Camille. It's also the children. Now, God forbid, me and my wife on a plane, God forbid, we passed away in a plane crash. And because we didn't talk about our wealth, what would our kids do? What do they say? The quickest way that people go bankrupt in the NFL, 85% of NFL players go broke within 5 years after leaving the league. Because guess what? No financial education.
No financial education.
What happens when they hit the lottery? Within 5 years, everybody who hits the lottery go broke. Because of what? No financial education. So again, we can build legacies and talk about getting the bag and all that in our communities. But if we're not educating people, then guess what? All those years, all that saving, all that investing, all buying those assets will be lost because your kids have no direction. So again, we got to make sure we educate our kids. That is the biggest, most critical, and I would say the worst thing that you cannot not do for your kid is to educate them. So for me, it's like how I look out here educating the whole world about financial literacy, and I die today, and my kids don't even know if I got life insurance. What's the point? We got to get that out of our mindsets. We got to get that out of our mindsets. You know, it used to be, Camille, our grandmothers, we would say, hey, can we, get life insurance on you? Because when you pass away, why don't you send your grandkids to school, pay for their college education? Because guess what? 2 dates that are guaranteed: your birthday and your death date. You're going to pass away. So why? For us in our community, when we have baby showers, we rush into the mall to buy the Jordans. In other communities, they rush in to buy life insurance and stocks and bonds. So we got to wake up, y'all, and realize that we must educate our community. That's why we are worth $25,000 net for the average Black man.
$25,000 net, y'all. Net. Now listen, I got to go back to that life insurance part because listen, that's what I saw. I saw my grandfather make sure everybody had life insurance. This man never owned a car. He died with millions, but he never even owned a car. He used public transportation. You know what he said? I'd rather use public transportation and own all the homes that everybody live in. He owned the land, but we didn't know he owned so many parts of the land until he died. But I want to talk about the life insurance because many of y'all not gonna like me for this, but oh well. Many baby boomers, I said it and I said what I said. All right. Look at leaving the responsibility on their children. That's us to bury them. When I say I may not have come from legacy or from wealth, but wealth can come from me. Wealth can come from me because I have a decision and a choice and opportunity to leave wealth right through life insurance. $40, $50, $100 a month. You can walk away from Starbucks and leave a legacy of wealth for your grandchildren or great grandchildren where they will herald your name.
That's right.
So let's talk about that.
So this right here, this cell phone, right? Look, this cell phone, I just dropped it. And half the crowd watched and said, did he just drop that phone?
Was that the new iPhone?
That's the new model. So I just dropped it on the ground. But guess what? Most of y'all out there listening, y'all have those phones and you so worried about dropping that phone. And if it breaks, it's insured. But you don't even value your life as much as you value that phone that you carry every day. So you insure that car, you insure that house, you insure that cell phone, but don't insure your life. Come on now. And I'll break it down even further. When I'm on a different state, what I'll do is I'll bring somebody up. The average person on Friday night, what we do, we work all week to get that paycheck on Friday, make sure we're ready for Saturday. By Sunday, we don't have no money. We wait until Friday again. And if I break it down, and I sit there and I say those $1,000 shoes, that $500 sweater, that $2,000 bag, that $10,000 watch you're wearing, and I break that down and we talk about you pay for life insurance for the next 10 years in one outfit that you're wearing. So again, how do we not have legacy, y'all? So again, it's what we don't prioritize that needs to be prioritized. We have to. Just because you were born broke don't mean you have to die broke. So it's your responsibility. And Cash App and all those GoFundMe wasn't created to take care of your family. If I get somebody to pass another hat around to me at a funeral, I'm going to lose my mind. Because All of y'all are in there
Yes.
in brand new outfits
Ooh!
and Gucci and Louis Vuitton and Rolexes. Y'all got limousines. Y'all out there in Benzes. Y'all got BMWs and all that stuff, but you have no life insurance. When are we going to prioritize and make sure that we close this wealth gap in our community? Come on, y'all.
You went right into it. That's exactly where I was going with the wealth gap. You have a book called Financial Foundations. What a blessing. If you all don't have that book, you better get it. Matter of fact, while you're buying gifts, you need to buy a few of them and be a blessing to your children and your nieces and nephews, because your brothers and sisters don't want to read it. Give it to the kids.
That's right.
Give them a requirement to read it, and you read it with them again and have conversation. So in your financial foundations, you talk about the dollar in the Black community.
Yes.
Which hence takes me into, I'm going to do a twofer here, into your Black Friday and the business Black Friday and your whole messaging around that. So let's first talk about the dollar circulation in the Black community. I mean, you've said it a number of times tonight, your Louis Vuitton, your doggone Louis, you got these bags and they got no money in it.
Yes.
So how fast is the dollar circulating in our community, in the Black community, which is why you started Black Friday, the Black Friday and the business Black Friday, and the big event that you have every year, every June. I want to talk about what prompted you to do that. Yes. I know I just asked a lot of questions there, but let's first talk about the circulation of the dollar, and let's talk about. I like to always lift the issue, but what I don't like to do is just lift the issue and leave people there. I want to give us some real hard facts and some real hard examples, tangible, practical tools that we can inculcate and incorporate tonight.
Yes.
So let's talk about that dollar, the circulation, and what helped you to birth Black Friday.
Yeah. Less than 3 hours, our dollar stays in our community. Less than 3 hours, and the Asian community is 21 days, and the Hispanic community is 13 days, and the white community is 15 days, and it continues to change. But less than 3 hours. So what I did was I created an organization in 2015, and what I did was I made it a 12-hour day, because I would start in the morning, it would go to the evening. So I said, at least I could do is break one thing that is being said at 3 hours. At least I can do that times 4, and I can go somewhere and work towards that. Well, hopefully the momentum that could keep going throughout the year and not just on that one day. So I created an organization to bring awareness to Black-owned businesses in our community, to create educational and networking opportunities for us to see the power of when we work together, that we can grow and impact our communities. And the reason why I started off how I started off my introduction is, the reason why I invest the time I do into the real Black Friday to Black businesses, because that's who helped save my life.
My God.
Again, we cannot become what we don't see. So if we don't spend money with our doctors, if we don't spend money with our landscapers, if we don't spend money with our auto mechanics, if we don't spend money with our, daycares, if we don't spend money with our restaurants, with our grocery stores, we cannot be the face of our community, and we cannot be examples to our youth that's up and coming. So again, that is why personally, people are like, why are you so passionate about seeing Black people be successful? Because I know, 1, we're our biggest employer. 2, we're going to give people a second chance. 3, we are the face and the backbones of our community. We're the ones that we're going to be on the block and tell you, hey, stop all that craziness in front of my
get out of here from in front of my house.
Yeah, we the ones who are going to be in the schools, mentoring the kids, showing up, clapping kids in the first day of school. So if we don't exist, then we can't impact our community. So again, that's why I started that. But as a community, we got to continue to make sure that we're building businesses and building wealth. And I'm going to tell you, y'all, right now, as I speak to you, in December and January are 2 of the worst months when it comes to Black businesses. And you ask me why? Because 1, we don't have the marketing dollars. We can't compete with Cheesecake Factory, Walmart, Target. You spend $100 here, you get a $25 gift card. You buy this, get $50 back. We can't compete with that. So these are slow months for Black-owned businesses, and a lot of people don't make it into the new year because we stopped supporting them the last quarter when they need the most help. So again, we got to make sure we get out. Then the other thing I want to ask all of you, it's going to take you a second to think about this. If I take your stylist, your barber, a restaurant, your church out of this, tell me this month, can you name 10 Black businesses that you've supported?
Come on, let's say it again. Your church.
Take out your church,
your barber or hairstylist.
Take out a restaurant, and take out your barber or your stylist.
Wow.
And I want you to tell me. So if you say I'm committed about our community, then I'm saying when I say think about who you want to support, don't just think about the places, because in most of our communities around this country, the thing when you go into our community, what you always going to see, you're going to see a church,
right?
You're going to see a restaurant, and you're going to see a salon. You definitely going to see those. But what we need to do is think out the box when we're thinking about supporting our community. Yeah. Well, is your doctor Black? Is your dentist Black? It is your dermatologist Black?
Dermatologist.
Is your landscaper Black? Is the gas station you go to Black? I could keep going down the list. You see what I'm saying? It's the untraditional stuff that we don't think about that we can support to make sure this engine continues to run in our community. So again, two things that really drive wealth in our community: entrepreneurship and home ownership. So we got to make sure the only way dealers became dealers was community supported dealers. The only way Ben & Jerry's became Ben & Jerry's because community supported them. Guess what, everybody? When we think about Nordstrom, when we think about dealers, when we think about all these great organizations, they were somebody's last name. So who in our community has built a business on their last name that you're not supporting to help them become that major organization that's being supported all across our world?
All across our world. And so I want to ask this is a hard question. It's not hard for you, but I have to ask it because a lot of people lift the question. And so you've done some tremendous things. And I want to dig into it when it comes to you almost raising, circulating almost $1 billion in one day, in just a few hours, half of a day, in just the Black community. But I want to ask this question because I know you've talked to a lot of business owners, and a lot of people lift this question because of a bad experience that they had with one Black entrepreneur or one Black business establishment. I know what my answer is, but I want the public to hear yours. Because we let everybody, tons of people make mistakes. But anyway, that I want to get to my opinion. I want to hear yours. When they say, well, I would love to support our people, but this person may move slower, this person may mishandle me, or this person had me double booked or overcharged. How do you speak to that? Like, I know you hear that question.
Okay, y'all want a real answer? Okay, what did I just say? 3 hours our money circulate. How you comparing Pookie's Barbecue Shack to Cheesecake Factory that has millions on top of millions on top of millions of dollars, and you want him to operate? I'm not saying he should be sloppy. I'm not saying he should be ghetto, but the reality is you won't even support him so he can have employees, so he can have the best product. And then when you go in there, if you his cousin, you want it for free, then you want to bring your cousin in them to get a discount, or you looking for a discount when you walk through the door. Pay regular price first. Make sure you support him more than once a year. And then don't support him with a like on social media. Support him with going into his store, making sure you spend some money, get your cousin them. Then put his brand on your social media so others can go support him. So again, we got to stop talking about what we could do better until we get better, and then we actually do the work. And the other thing is, I get sick and tired of hearing that you had one bad experience and you throwing somebody away. Well, your wife should have threw you away. Your husband should have threw you away. Your kids should have threw you away. Your pastor should have threw you away. So let's stop that, y'all. Let's stop being our worst freaking enemies. And my thing is, y'all go into Walmart. I was standing in Walmart a couple of weeks ago, and I say this example. The freaking line is all the way back to the electronics section. And y'all sitting in line, ain't nobody frowning, ain't nobody talking to a manager. You go into a Black business and there's 3 people in line. Oh my gosh, I had to wait so long. And it's like, are y'all serious? This
Right.
place has 100 registers and have 4 of them open, and y'all keep going back.
And y'all keep going back.
Keep going back.
Right.
And so again, the only way we can change and make sure that our people can deliver a good product is y'all have to support them. You have to support them. And then you have to be okay with telling them when they made a mistake. They aren't perfect.
They're
learning. Sometimes
they
they're the
have
first
to be willing.
generation.
They have to listen. Mm-hmm.
They're the first. I am the first generation to do something like I'm doing here in the city in my family. Yeah. I couldn't call my uncle and say, hey, tell me how I should do this.
Don't know.
Tell me how I should handle, a 7-figure payroll and the stress of that. Tell me how I should manage 200 something employees that I pay and make sure their families are okay. Tell me about that. Tell me about the stresses of failure. Tell me about slow months. Tell me about making sure I have access. Tell me about that. Nobody told me that. So again, give them grace, because people in your life give you grace every day. So if you were put on Front Street, would people support you? So again, come on, y'all. We got to do better.
So what I love about that is, I think, so you said a lot there. I mean, we as entrepreneurs, I call myself a knowledgepreneur because I advise people. I give a lot of my knowledge away to help them grow their 7 and 8 figures, right? Okay. But I think that so that person sitting in the chair, us sitting in the chair, we have to connect with people that are producing on that level so that we can expand. What I want to talk about is those people that are, when we go out to support the prospective companies or prospective businesses, when we say, okay, tell them what the experience is really like, well, the entrepreneur has to be ready to hear it. They have to be willing to hear it. Nobody said that you have to, talk to them, talk down to them, or demean them, or emasculate a man in any way, or just make them feel less than because of what they're producing. But that's the only way, I know all of the iPhone users out there, but I got to tell you all, I'm still a Samsung girl. Probably will be for a while. I have Apple products. Yeah. It just ain't an iPhone. So with that said, Samsung only became Samsung because Samsung took the liberty of putting the phone in people's hands first. They said, hey, take this phone, don't pay us anything. Tell us what it's like. Tell us what your experience or usage is like. And we're going to develop and expand it based on that. When it comes to businesses, we have to be willing to tell them the truth, and they have to be willing to take that data, just like Samsung did, as does Apple now. Take that data, incorporate it, and make it better.
Yes.
When we talk about, somebody already should have given up on us, but they did not. So the same way they didn't give up on us, we want to give the business owners a chance. And maybe it's a great opportunity for you, if you're thinking about a business, to start your own so you can see really what it's like. Or at least go maybe, I like to say, go be somebody's number two. Go be somebody's number two. And you know all about that, being somebody's number two before you started your own. And with that said, I want to dig into, if a person does find themselves in that place where they have not been supporting their community or Black businesses, let's talk practically. What can we do starting today to go out and support them? We still have 2 weeks of the year left. Yeah. What can we do right now?
So I would just say for you, the key thing is go out, support them, spend money with them. Again, don't look for the discount. Spend a regular price with them.
Stop there. Stop looking for discounts, y'all.
Yeah.
Stop looking for discounts.
Yeah.
There's a psychology in always looking for a discount too. That's another conversation, another day. It's a broke mindset.
That's right.
Because wealth don't look for discount. They just gonna pay what it is because they want you to pay whatever it costs to get them.
That's right.
Okay, continue.
So you want to support those businesses. You want to spread the word of those businesses.
Yeah.
Tell other people if you have a great experience, it's a great product. Mm-hmm. And then I also want you to share. Use your social media platforms. That'll be different. Most of you all, you talk about the businesses that you do. You talk about the things that you produce. But how many people have you shared about that? And that's not in your friend circle. You went to a great business, because think about it. We tend to a lot of time go to national brands and we'll post our food at the table. You know, we at Capitol Grill.
Right,
We tag Capitol Grill. We at
yes.
Saks Fifth Avenue buying expensive boots, and we, you know, showing Saks Fifth Avenue, and we'll do it without thought. We'll do it without thought. But you go into that small business and who has no marketing budget, who's trying their best to give you a great product, and you won't even post about them. You'll wear their gear. You'll talk about it. You won't even tell your friends where you bought it from. So I would just say, again, if you can help spread the word, share about them, and go be intentional to spend money with them. Yeah. I'm telling you guys. And then I say, take a group. Take a group. It's nothing on a weekend. I'll have a couple of my friends. Hey, meet me out. We're going to go to this restaurant because I know they're going to spend some money. I'm going to spend some money. And then we might hit a couple of Black businesses and we support them. So again, we just have to be intentional, everybody, to make sure. Remember, we are the backbones to our communities. If you don't support these small businesses, it was said statistically that 40% of Black businesses will close their doors post-pandemic. The only way to stop that, and I'm talking about the number one employer of our 40%. Community, 40%.
Wow.
When you look in this community, it's people who have closed their doors during post-pandemic that have been in this community for generations. For generations.
My God.
But again, it's not that we're not spending money. We spending money, but we're not intentionally looking to support our own. And I would say to you, as you're telling that business owner, if you have a bad experience, it's the way you deliver it. Don't go, because you got to remember, this person is putting their guts into making sure they put their savings into it. They sometimes drew down their whole 401k to start that business. They put their whole legacy and life into this business. So when you're saying that, remember what they're talking about. See, if you work at Target and they get mad at Target, well, you go home and you still getting your check from Target on Friday. You come in their business, you dog their business. You don't know, they might even be getting a paycheck to provide this service to our community, and they've given their all to it. So again, talk to them with respect, show them some love. At the end of the day, again, ain't none of us perfect. I dropped the ball. So all I would ask people to do is give me the grace. Give me the grace that I'm willing to give you. You know, and again, all I'm going to do is say, if I did something wrong, is be accountable. The integrity is knowing when you're wrong, having the ability to fix it. That's all. So I'll tell this person, I was wrong. You're absolutely right. I want to get better. I want to get better.
I want to make it right. Now, LaRese, you're a master at connecting. You're a master at it. So, and I say that because we're gonna round out our conversation tonight about with the marriage piece of it, because that's really what drew us all tonight. But I wanted just for a minute look at the fact that you created or generated almost $1 billion in a weekend, not even a whole weekend, in one day. But you're a master at connecting with us, with our people. So I know you got your secret sauce. I know you got, the giftings that God has put on you. But I just want to know, what would you say? How do you encourage someone to be able to just attempt to try to connect with our people, people of color?
That's real. It's humility, man. It is never forgetting who you are and where you came from, and that our community is in dire need of our assistance, man. And I take it serious. One thing is, people do business with people they trust. People do business with people who they can count on. So one thing, people always say, why do people support you, man? Why do they come out to the things that you do continuously? It's because they see I roll my sleeves up and I go in the dirt. See, most people won't go in the dirt. Most people make a good living, are able to get in corporate positions. And what they do is they get in their fancy cars and leave our community in their rearview mirrors, going to their fancy homes in those suburbs. So again, I'm not saying that you can't live in a good area, live in a nice house, drive a nice car. But again, take the responsibility to never forget the community that builds you, the community that supports you. Because when it's all said and done, that's who's going to be standing by your side, is the community. So again, I would just say, get out there, grind, show yourself friendly. How you going to ask somebody to support you and you don't support nobody? You don't support nobody but yourself. So one thing this community knows me for is I come out and I support. You don't know where I might do 4 and 5 events every weekend. to go support somebody else's vision, to spend money. People know when I come through the doors, I don't want nothing for free. People are like, no, this meal is on me. This sweater's on me. I said, no, I'm an entrepreneur. You just gave your profit away. Don't you ever give something away free. Never. I said, you are here to make money, spend money with our people. So again, that's the advice I would give to you. Get out there, support, love your community, build trust, and be a man of your word. One thing when people know I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm not perfect, but I'm going to try my best to get it done every time when it comes to this community. So again, be willing to put the work in.
I love it. I love what you said about being a man of your word. Let your yes be yes, your no be no. And this is for everybody out there. That's where it all starts. When we talk about connecting, we all err. One of the greatest lessons for me is just being willing to say, I messed up. I dropped the ball. I lost it. I missed it. Do you forgive me? And more often than not, we're not willing to do that. So when I mean, how you feel about people asking you, well, what you do to get people to show up for you? How you feel about that? What do you mean? What do you do? How do you get people to support you? How you feel about that? That's a real question. That's
you know, it depends on who it's coming from.
Okay, that's real.
If you call me and say, LaRese, how did you make that happen? I know you're asking from a sense of I'm trying to get this done, with some suggestions. When you asking me like, who the heck you think you are?
We're like, you don't know.
Like, you get some people, you know why they're being condescending or whatever. Yeah. But for me, is what I try to do is always be consistent. Even with those individuals, I still, show them love and say, hey, I mean, you got some issues like we all do. So I'm gonna still love you through those. And when it's all said and done, you're gonna see that I'm the guy who I say I am. So again, I always tell people, don't let people change who you are. Michelle Obama said it best: when they, go low, you go high. Mm-hmm. You stay high. So I try to say at the same level, what they say, egos don't fly with pigeons. You know what I'm saying? Giraffes don't hang with turtles. So I stay at the same level, at all times. And so again, so.
I love it. I want to switch gears really quickly, and I want to talk about marriage. One of the questions that was posed to me, I kind of put it out there for the last couple of weeks. I would be having this conversation with you, and one of them was, what happens when you get into the marriage and you find that the person that you married, they're loving, they're kind, they're considerate of you, and they're, they make sure that the finances are handled. But what happens when, because you as a woman are their focus, and they cause their own bills individually to fall by the wayside, and you don't find out though until you get into the marriage that they let their stuff go to support you? What happens? What does that couple do when you get into that marriage now, and you didn't know that, like you said earlier on, that they had 9 or 10 credit cards, or maybe they had a personal loan that you knew nothing about, but they let some of that stuff fall by the wayside to take care of you or to support you financially? What type of advice would you give to that couple?
First, and I'm gonna give you some real transparent stuff because I know we're getting ready to wrap up. So I want to say a couple of things. I don't share this, but this is my girl on the phone, so I'm gonna share some things I really probably have never shared.
But I went through, though. Remember that.
I went through a divorce. Yeah. And one of the biggest things, and good friend of mine always will be my friend, my kid's mother. Have so much love and respect for her, for who she is in my life still to this day as my, kid's mom. She's a phenomenal mom. And I'll say this, I was the guy who handled the finances, in our marriage. And I would tell her, like, sit down. I need you to listen to it. I need you to listen to this. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until we got divorced that she didn't realize, how are you with a financial guide that people, listen to all across this country? Mm-hmm. And you didn't know certain things. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't because I wasn't the kind of man that would try to hide this stuff. It was that because she trusted me so much, she felt like, oh, we're going to be together forever for the rest of our lives. So I don't need to know it. You know it. And I would tell her, I could go get hit by a bus today, and all this we worked for, you wouldn't even understand how to manage it. And again, now when we got divorced, she was like, man, you were so right. I didn't realize I didn't look at our budget. I didn't realize that I didn't even understand some of our policies and all that sort of stuff. So that's being with a guy who is they would be considered an expert in this area. And that was a challenge. So what I did was I learned from that. So I got remarried, just last Juneteenth. And what I did was, I appreciate that. What I learned though is, again, the worst thing to do is go through a life issue and don't learn and get better from it. So again, being a student at all times for life. So what I did was, as I got married, two things that marriages break up: communication and finance. Finances is one of the leading reasons people get divorced. So whether you think it or not, money, it does, impact marriages. So what I did was, when we started dating and I knew we were getting serious, I said, you know what? I want to sit down and talk to about your finances with you. Because shame on me if I'm out here doing what I do and you are a mess. And she was willing to, and I can share this because she shared it publicly now on many occasions. She had 28 credit cards. 28 credit cards.
Wow.
She was that chick that she go in a store, they say, you get 15% off, you sign up today. And she was like, oh, you get credit.
I'll do it.
I'll give her credit for is she always paid her bills though. So it's not like she had them and didn't pay her bills. She paid her bills. But what she didn't realize,
had a crazy debt ratio.
She was she was drowning. It was that slow leak. And I tell, even a slow leak will eventually sink a yacht. And what was happening is she was making six figures, drowning, and didn't even realize it because it was happening very slowly, slowly. So what we did was, before we got married, when we got engaged, I asked her to marry me. We started a joint account together, and people was like, huh?
And you all did a live about that. I remember you did a live on Instagram about it too.
And people thought I was crazy. Like, you did a joint account. I said, because why should I wait till we get off the plane from our honeymoon to realize that we can't even sit at the same table to buy a house together? So y'all done celebrated and partied through a wedding and got in debt for a wedding. And then you get off the plane and realize the celebration is over because you have bad credit. Or because you have credit card debt, or because you have no cash. So all, again, celebration, cash, no cash, no credit, So come on, all credit cards. So again, the C's, I call them. So what we did was, I worked through a budget with her. I made sure she understand where her money was going, her expenses. It got so deep, y'all. She had her salon for 10 years.
Right, she was an entrepreneur herself.
Closed her doors. She closed her doors.
Oh, no.
Because when I showed her what she was making compared to what she was spending, she realized, what am I doing this for?
Wait a minute. Hold on. I didn't know this. Pause.
Yeah.
She closed the door.
She closed her doors.
Oh, okay.
And I told her, what you do is go work at somebody else's salon for at least 2 years, rebuild your finances, rebuild your credit, and stop letting the business drain you. And watch, I promise you, I guarantee. She cried. I'll never forget the day. She cried like, this is my baby. Like, I don't know. Like, I love you, but I don't, we're not married yet. Like, should I do this? Like what? And what she did was, she realized and she trusted me because she saw I was willing to do the work with her. So again, it's one thing for me to buy a chick a bag. It's another thing for me to teach her how to get a bag. It's a big difference, y'all.
And you buy her bags now. You bless her. I see that often. but also you're using the fish methodology. I'm not going to just give you a fish to eat for today. I'm going to teach you to fish for a lifetime. Yeah. Man, so what was that like? You and now we talking straight here.
Yeah.
What was that like for her?
So
I might have to bring her on.
She literally cried through it. She was like, man, this is my baby. I can't believe I have to close my doors. But I would tell you, she would sit on this call with me today. She would tell you she's never been in a better financial position in her entire life, where she can see her money. She's investing her money. She's saving her money. She has multiple investment accounts now. She has one credit card now. She's building wealth for herself and for our family. And I'm telling you now, the peace. Let me tell all y'all all this. It comes down to peace. It's not about that stuff, y'all. Because when you get sick, you're going to be chasing that peace. You ain't going to be chasing that stuff you can't wear, those heels you can't wear, those coats you can't wear, that car you can't drive. It's your peace. And right now, it's like we do stuff and we do it at a different level now. Even her mindset has shifted. We go to the mall now. She'd be like, I don't really need that. What we need that for? You know, she's like, I'd rather see the money in my investment and my bank. So again, you know, it is all, I would say, don't wait till you get married to find out. We looked at each other's credit reports. We looked at each other's spending habits. We looked at each other's budgets. So literally, when we got married, when we got off the plane, it was nothing to talk about with our finances. We were already doing it. We had took care of debt. We had a whole plan. And when I say we don't have conversations about money, the conversations we have is when we're sitting with our kids on Sundays after dinner, we're talking about new things we're doing, things we're investing in. Did you guys buy the stock? Are you looking at your coin base? Are you looking at your Robinhood account? Are you looking at your credit report? All my kids now, all three of them have over a 765 credit score.
I was just going to that. I was just getting ready to ask you, what are you leaving for the legacy and teaching the children? And Gavin's not that old. Gavin is
18.
18. He just turned 18.
18. So, because what I did was I put them on my credit cards when they were 15. Early. And now that's all they know. So now they understand the value of their name. See, we weren't taught to value our name. We were taught to get in debt. And when you don't have nothing, when somebody give you something, you think it's free money and you don't realize you be paying it for the rest of your life. See, I went to college and got $12,000 in credit card debt because I didn't know no better. So again, I make sure that why does life have to be our kids' best teacher? No, I'm gonna be their best teacher. I did this, so you're not gonna do this. Exactly. I did that, so you don't have to do that. So again, I would just say to you, I would encourage you, sit down with your spouse, educate them on every financial thing. If you hiding something from them, you shouldn't have married them.
Hey,
you shouldn't have married them. So, because guess what people do? People cheat with money, and my wife cheat.
Don't make me run.
Like serious. It's like people have separate accounts because a lot of times they don't want you to see what they're doing. If you ain't gonna allow your wife or your husband to hold you accountable, you don't have accountability. So again, now you cheating with money. So people think you got to cheat having sex. You could cheat with money. And I see it happen all the time. So again, for me, make sure you educate the ones you love. Make sure if you die today, that they can continue your legacy and they can make sure the family name goes on for generations to come.
My Lord, you said it right there with the financial abuse, because there is infidelity in finance. And I mean, I lived through that and it's not a very pretty situation. But I want you to talk right now to single women as we wrap up. I've got just another question for you. Let's talk to the single women. They don't have a spouse and they believe that Prince Charming is out there somewhere. He's out there somewhere, but listen, he doesn't need to come and find you busted and disgusted, broke on top of it. Yeah. All right. So married, divorced, single now, children grown, or still have children in the household. Where can they start? That's the beauty of that book with Barbara. She talks about one of the most important pieces is that you can start anywhere. You can start with $25, creating a savings and getting yourself out of debt. What would you encourage a single mother?
So I would say one, it's something I say, and I say it publicly all the time. I always say, I want to find a woman. This is my goal as a single man. Mm-hmm. I want to find a woman who's going to help me build the bag instead of emptying the bag. And the reality is, if you come with bad credit, if you come in debt, if you come with your financial priorities all jacked up, then you come in and you messing my table up. So we always ask the question, what he bringing to the table? No, what you bringing to the table?
Right on. I say it.
So I would say for you is take the time. One, to make sure that you're investing. This is simple stuff. You're
Mhm.
investing. The shame is so shameful when I go to organizations and do their accounting work, and I see these 401ks, these 403bs, and I see less than 20% of people enrolled in these programs, and they're not even paying them. So they're leaving free money on the
Right
table
on
and
table.
not paying
Mhm.
themselves. So I
And
say,
we used to talk about that all the time. Remember, we used to talk about that all the time.
all the time.
Yes.
So make sure you're investing in your company's retirement plan. Make sure that you're saving. Make sure that you have a budget in place. Mint.com is a great resource, MINT. And then I do the rule of the 50, 30, 20. Now, this is going to cause a couple of y'all, if you're looking for your Prince Charming to come and you want to be ready for him, 50, 20, 30. 50% of your income is going to be on your needs. That's your house. That's your utilities. 30% is going to be on your investments and savings. So that means 10% on investments, 10% on savings, 10% on emergency fund, and then the 20% is on your wants. A lot of y'all spending 50% on your wants and then wonder why you don't have no money to save. Wow. So in order to get ahead, you got to make adjustments. And for some of y'all, when y'all do that mathematical equation, you're going to realize you got to downsize the house. You might not be able to drive a fancy car. You're going to have to start packing your lunch to go to work. You're going to have to cut back on, doing some extracurricular activities that you do. You're going to have to stop traveling as much. So again, my thing is you got to get ready. If you think Prince Charming is coming, why not be ready for him so you can keep the kingdom going?
So you can keep it going. And see, here's the thing. Now I have to go here with this. I promise. And then I'm going to get to my last question. Shout out to Chandra too. Shout out to you, girl. Look, I like you more now after knowing what you experienced. I won't say went through, what you experienced and overcome. My goodness. So where do we put tithing in there? Because sometimes there's a lot of, not any pastors we know, I'll say it like that, but there's some pastoral financial abuse out there. I said it, and I said what I said.
Yes.
Financial abuse in the pulpit. Yes. With people in their giving. Now we know God blesses the giver, a cheerful giver, and we know that. But where do we put that? Where do we put that giving in this 50, 20, 30?
So I'm glad
you're a big philanthropist.
Yes.
You're huge on philanthropic efforts. So I gotta ask that question.
Yeah. So what I do now is, so I will say to you guys honestly, I give away 30% of my income a year.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting on it.
And that's really, really important to me in this part of my career, is that I give it away in different ways. I give it away as scholarships. I give it away in feeding the homeless. I give it away, giving back to businesses. So I give it away, and for me is, so in that 30% is actually 10% of that is tithing.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
So yeah, so 10% of it is tithing. But I would say, to me though, I challenge a lot of pastors out there. It's you can't always have your hand out and not being willing to turn it over.
Don't make me run. Don't make me run.
Yeah. And financial literacy, is so imperative to our community. And if our community is dying financially, you have a responsibility as you sit on that platform to make sure that you're not always asking. And because they trust you, sometimes that's what we call manipulation.
No, it's not sometimes. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
I call it that.
And you, because you got the trust and you have the heart of people, all you do is get the people to invest in your vision, and you don't make sure that they're invested in their vision. So they can't continue long term to invest in you if they have nothing to invest in. So again, or with. So I would say to you, I challenge pastors all the time, financial literacy should be a part of your ministry. If you're reading statistics, you say you're a reader. Pastors always tell me, I read this, I read that. Well, are you reading about how our community is dying financially, how legacies aren't getting passed, And I'm not saying their job is to do everything, but the reality is the church asks for money, and they don't ask for money just a little bit. They ask for money a whole lot.
A lot. Oh my gosh.
So again, I don't mind giving because I can afford to give now. But for the person who's pulling up with their last tank of gas and then they feel like they're giving everything they have here, I mean, come on, y'all. We have a responsibility to make sure that we're educating our people from that same pulpit to make sure that they create legacies for their families.
And I love what you said about your hand is up when your hand should sometimes be down. We both shared and served in a ministry where we saw giving on a big level.
That's right.
Bless my life, and I can't even be honest. I mean, I can't be honest. I cannot not be honest about the fact that I was never a real big giver before. I watched my grandmother be a giver. But serving in that ministry and watching it be for real, a love to give, to bless somebody's life, to turn their life upside down, literally by being a blessing. It was just life changing. And so, really, we should be looking for places to be a blessing. I've got one last question for you tonight, and I want to just thank you. It's been, tremendous. I'm already planning when I can have you back
Yes.
because I really think that you're on to something with the financial literacy in ministries. I think more ministries need to be challenged because I don't care about what you're doing in the food bank. I said it because we know I'm my first undergrad's finance. We
Yeah.
serve together, we work
Yeah.
together. I know how it works.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
just leave it at that
Yeah.
without throwing it all out there.
Yeah.
But I want to see more philanthropic for your people that are serving right inside your house. I mean, literally, I remember watching a person literally serving almost pass out after doing two services and trying to stay for a third.
Wow.
Like, no, go home.
Wow.
Go home, serve. And one of the blessings I appreciate from that ministry where we served together, it was always serve one ministry and serve a ministry and sit in one.
Yeah.
More ministries across the world that have multiple services need to understand that your people that are serving are leading and bleeding. They need to be deposited into too.
Ooh,
Now I got to talk about the money. I mean, we should be helping our people that are serving. We're kingdom. God's word, when we go back to God's word and his promises,
that's right.
he did say that the poor will be among us always, but that does not mean it's me or you or supposed to be us, because
right.
we're supposed to not only plant seeds but live a life that is desirable and want to encourage more people to want to know more about what kind of life are you living and who are you serving to create that level of interest. So you said something about the 3 C's. I don't. What were the 3 C's?
Well, credit cards. You talking about cash?
Oh, credit cards, cash, and what was the other one?
And I talked about celebration, credit cards, cash.
Okay.
And what did I say? Oh my gosh, I don't
You
forget
said
what I
something about
said.
the 3 C's when it comes to budgeting. So I just want
Yeah.
to make sure I didn't miss those. But that's
Yeah.
okay.
No.
That's okay. Here's my last question for you tonight. Again, Chandra, thank you for lending him to us tonight. Yeah, I'm going to be planning to have him back. This is some good stuff. Are you working on a new project? Anything new with Financial Foundations? I mean,
Yes.
you might be due for a revision, right? Look,
Oh.
I'm always sending you, inboxing you. Hey, try this. Look at this one.
So I actually have something really big that I've been announcing for the last couple of weeks.
Okay,
I am going to.
If it's okay, but just
Oh yeah, no, I am going to be the national spokesperson for a financial, literacy organization that's out of Atlanta, and they are throughout all the throughout 24 HBCUs around the country, and they also are going into mega churches around the world.
I love it.
And so they are going to make the announcement in January that I will be their national spokesperson, and I'm so elated about that. And y'all don't understand. We getting ready to shake.
You heard it here first.
We're getting ready to shake the game up.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
My. I love it.
It's getting ready to be crazy. And when I say we started with young people, adults, I'm bringing the families. Your mother, the mother's mission is they got to bring their child. That's your mission. It's free admission. But you got to bring, I want families in the building together. And I did a teaser at Columbus State University in Columbus, where I have families. And I said, how am I getting ready to teach to a 12-year-old with a 50-year-old in the same room? And when I said I got done with that, families was sitting in there, mothers was hugging their kids. Right. It was life-changing. And from there, I knew that we got to create something to make sure they're having this conversation at the same time. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
And I'll be in Atlanta a lot this coming year because I'm going to be I'm the actual co-chair of the Economic Empowerment Program for the 100 Black Men of America. And so it's all about empowering our businesses and creating wealth. So again, we're putting major strategies, and it's stretching me, Camille. I'll be honest.
Yes,
It's
come
stretching
on. I
me
love it. I love
to
it. I love
not
it. I love
see.
it.
I've been thinking about Ohio for a long time. Now God is
Well,
saying,
we already
now,
talked about this, but
yeah,
okay.
you got to think about markets you ain't never been to before.
It's time.
So that's causing me to stay up at night and research new cities I ain't never stepped foot in before. So again, I'm
love it.
encouraged, and just understand, all y'all listening out there, is your family matters, your wealth matters.
There
And
it
when
is.
they're gone, you want to make sure that you didn't work your whole life in vain, and that you did not make sure that they can manage the wealth that you sacrifice, that you scrape to make sure you establish for your family.
My God. My last question for you is this. Are you going to be doing Juneteenth this year? It's a two-part question.
So
Coming up in 2023, you're still doing it, right?
So I am going to be doing something. That
Okay.
the thing is where.
Okay, got it.
Because, yeah, we've been invited to come to about 4 to 5 different cities recently by a couple of their administrations. So it's where am I going to do it this year? Because again, for me now, I got to start to do things in other markets, so that people are comfortable when they see me in those different cities.
I love it. I'm so excited for you, and just happy in every way possible. What would you say is uh, the lesson that took you the longest to learn when it comes to money?
The lesson is the power of your network. The power of your network, because sometimes you think you need cash. It's just you need to know the right person that can open the doors that will take you to everything that you ever dreamed of being in front of. And I'll tell you, I've met some amazing people over the last couple years. And I think about it, mentorship. We talk about that in our communities all the time, the importance of mentorship.
Yeah.
But I didn't learn about what a sponsor was till about 4 years ago. And the difference between a sponsor and a mentor is, a mentor will mentor you and guide you throughout the process of life. But a sponsor, what they will do is not
Put it
only
up for you.
mentor you, they will, when you're not in the room, they'll speak on
Yes,
your
pick you
behalf
up.
and make sure you're there when you're not there. And I'll tell you, for me, it's like, that has been the biggest blessing. I've had some amazing gentlemen in my life, and they have just been opening doors and creating opportunities. And it's all off of what they built. It wasn't me, it's what they built, but they trust me to be able to do the same and pay it forward as they give me the opportunity. So I would tell you out there, build relationships, because again, why should I have to take 30 years to do something that could take me 2, because somebody's already done the work and they know I have the capacity to join them. So again, I would just say, build that network, because your network is your net worth.
Yes, indeed. Your network is your net worth. Well, I thank you. I salute you for everything you're doing. Congratulations on your award with the 100 Black Men there in Cleveland. And I am here for all of it. But you going to other states, I've been saying that. So I'm over the moon. And thank you for telling me now. Y'all didn't get my real reaction.
Yeah.
Because I am really excited for you. And I know you're just getting started. God, the things that God has for you. I love your humility. And I don't eat meat anymore. So y'all gonna have to come up with something when I come to town, so I can come try the restaurant out.
Oh, you know it.
But I heard about the fries. Fries.
But let me say this though. I want to make sure I say this, because one, you have remained the same since I first met you. And I love to be in the presence of people. Just, you talk about humility and love and support. Like, I mean, we don't have to see each other every day. And it's like we can pick up, we see each other. It's like, I saw you yesterday. What's up, Camille? What's happening? Like, what it is. Like, let's talk, and I just want to tell you that, it's very few people that you meet in life. When you meet people like that, make sure you always stay connected and never get disconnected, because God only sends few people like that in your life, and your support has always meant. So even seeing your smile today really just kind of like, it just lit me up to say, man, I really appreciate the woman that you are and the things that you do and the support you lend to others.
Well, I praise God and thank you for that. You trying to make me blush tonight, but it's okay. I won't just take it. I'm gonna gobble it all up, gobble it all up. And I send those same sentiments back to you. I'm thrilled with what God is doing. I'm even more thrilled that God can trust you not only with trouble but with elevation.
Wow.
So
Ooh,
y'all
ooh.
hold on, hold on, because the best is just yet to come.
That's right.
So you all help me celebrate. Share this broadcast tonight. Y'all share garbage and junk. Share what's going to help change the trajectory of your family's life and, more importantly, your legacy. So our guest tonight has been LaRese Purnell, MBA, out of Cleveland, Ohio, and you all are going to see him and his face as he has now become a new ambassador. You'll see him all over the place. So y'all hold on. Make sure you go to cleconsulting.com so you all can stay tuned in to whatever else he is doing. So again, I thank you for being my guest tonight.
Thank you.
I'm going to have you back.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, you got it. Okay, so we're going to switch on over now to my will theory tonight. Did you all love LaRese Purnell tonight? He really is. He really is. I don't like to say like a brother. He is a brother because God will sometimes give you friends that will stick closer than a brother. And that is exactly what he has been. You all know I have it listed where you can find him on social media. You can also find him at CLE Consulting. You know, he's a huge CLEconsulting.com. And he's a huge advocate for his city. We like to say we put on for our city, right? I'm from Cleveland. Hard C for Camille for C and C for Cleveland. But here's my wealth theory for tonight. I want to give you all just a few of them. And my goodness, they are just so meaty. You all are going to have to go back on the replay. But here are my few thoughts. The first one is for those ladies out there, you can start anywhere. LaRese gave you some great tools and tips on how to get started. If you're married, you need to write a love letter. Each of you need to write a love letter to your spouse. And it doesn't just need to be about the violins playing. It needs to be about your finances, all the specifics, the debt, what you guys owe, where your insurances are, any type of financial portfolios. You need to find it in that love letter. What does your table talk look like? Number two, what are you all talking about at the table? I think it was Lois Evans that had a group or organization called Knees Under the Table. That means what's happening at the table. You should be finding places to talk to your family about money. It should not be a taboo topic. All right. So let's be willing to have that conversation about money. And I would be remiss to not say tonight how important it is for us to support each other. My girlfriend and I were talking about this recently, and meaning that everybody, sometimes family, even friends, they're not always going to support you. And sometimes, not with everybody, but sometimes you have to get to a point where you're not looking for support from them. You're just looking for them to be a friend. You're just looking for them to be a family member. But I have a cousin who was willing. She said, listen, I'm an entrepreneur and I have to support you in what you're doing. So I just wanted to pause right there and suggest that it's important that we support each other. If you can't or unwilling to support financially, then be willing to show up and look for how you can collaborate and be a support in that way, because that will certainly go a very long way. And I would be remiss to not point out the fact that, yes, you can cheat in your finances. So anybody out there cheating in your finances, in your marriage, if you're hiding things, you heard it from LaRese. If you can't talk about money, then you probably shouldn't have gotten married. Yes, I said that. All right. So you all take this content, take this information and use it. Let it be nourishment to your soul, mind, will, and emotions, and let it be nourishment where your pockets can flourish, because God has not called us to just be poor. God has called us to actually do something great in the earth, and it starts with finances. All right. So I thank you for joining us tonight. I want to take a quick moment and acknowledge Shawana Kennedy. Yes, she didn't know I would do that, but I have to. Kennedy Media, everything you've been watching tonight, all of the sound, all of the graphics, all of the movement, it's all her, y'all. It's all her. So I just wanted to take a moment to pause and let her know that I thank her for all that she does. And I want you all to do me a favor before this year is out. If it's not you, you know somebody that does need some support or help when it comes to getting their brand out, being seen, being heard. You're going to find it there with Kennedy Media. All right. So again, I thank you for joining the Bullpen. You all keep and stay tuned, stay connected for the very next episode that will be coming your way very soon. I'm Camille Nash, and I say good night. We thank you.